The rumors are swirling, and the tension is rising in Miami. Could Stephen Ross, owner of the Miami Dolphins, actually fire head coach Mike McDaniel if this season ends in disappointment? That's the speculation making waves after Dan Graziano of ESPN shared whispers from around the league. While it's just talk for now, the idea has set off a storm of debates among fans and analysts, questioning what the future holds for a coach who brought a spark to this team not too long ago. McDaniel's start in Miami felt promising. In his first 2 seasons, he led the Dolphins to back-to-back playoff appearances, something that seemed almost unattainable for years. But digging deeper into those seasons reveals a pattern that's hard to ignore. In 2022, the Dolphins started strong at 8-3, leading the AFC East, only to collapse late in the season. In 2023, it was déjà vu, a 9-3 start, another late-season meltdown, and another wild-card loss. Those playoff appearances felt hollow, and now, this year, the team sits at 6-7, staring at the very real possibility of missing the playoffs entirely. The biggest issue this season? A complete lack of preparation for the inevitable. Everyone knows Tua Tagovailoa is a gifted quarterback, but his health has always been a concern. When he went down with an injury in Week 2, the Dolphins had no viable backup plan. The team stumbled to a 1-3 record during his absence, and the season quickly spiraled out of control. This failure to account for such a critical risk falls squarely on General Manager Chris Grier and head coach Mike McDaniel, and it's a glaring oversight that's hard to justify. While McDaniel signed a significant contract extension in August, which might suggest his job is safe, there's another factor to consider: Stephen Ross. At 84 years old, Ross is running out of time to see his team win a championship. He recently sold a minority stake in the franchise to private equity, signaling his intent to keep the organization's value high. But losing seasons don't help that cause. Ross has poured money, energy, and time into this team, and patience isn't something he has in abundance. If the Dolphins fumble their way through the remaining games and end up with a losing record, it's not out of the question that Ross makes drastic changes. That could mean firing both McDaniel and Grier, or perhaps keeping one and letting the other go. Fans might struggle to imagine Grier surviving such a shakeup, but Ross has been loyal to him for years. It's not impossible to think that loyalty could save Grier, even if the team's struggles suggest otherwise. Meanwhile, Jalen Ramsey remains a key figure on this roster, but his recent performance has left much to be desired. Against the New York Jets, Ramsey faced Garrett Wilson and struggled mightily. Wilson racked up 114 yards on 7 catches, including a massive 42-yard play, much of it with Ramsey in coverage. It was a rare off day for a player known as one of the league's best, and it came at a time when the Dolphins could least afford it. Now, the focus shifts to the Houston Texans. Ramsey will likely draw Nico Collins, a receiver who has been electric this season. Collins is averaging over 100 yards per game and already has 4 100-yard performances under his belt. For Ramsey, this game offers a shot at redemption, but the challenge will be just as tough, if not tougher, than what he faced against Wilson. The numbers from the Jets game paint a grim picture for Ramsey. Pro Football Focus handed him a harsh grade of 39.8, and even other metrics didn't offer much kindness. He allowed multiple big plays and struggled to assert his usual dominance. Head coach Mike McDaniel, however, remains unwavering in his belief that Ramsey will bounce back. McDaniel spoke about Ramsey's competitive nature and his pride, emphasizing that players like him thrive on adversity. He's confident Ramsey will rise to the occasion against Houston, where his presence will be crucial. This string of events, speculation about McDaniel's job security, Ramsey's struggles, and the team's inconsistency, points to a deeper problem: unmet expectations. The Dolphins have invested heavily in talent. They have Tua, Tyreek Hill, Xavier Howard, and more. On paper, this team should be competing for championships, not fighting to stay above .500. The frustration among fans is palpable, and Ross's sense of urgency only adds to the pressure. Miami hasn't seen postseason glory in decades, and another wasted season feels unacceptable. The upcoming game against the Texans looms large for everyone involved. For McDaniel, it could be a defining moment, a chance to prove he can weather the storm and lead this team back on track. For Ramsey, it's an opportunity to remind everyone why he's considered one of the best in the game. And for the fans, it's another chapter in the emotional roller coaster that is following the Dolphins. As the clock ticks down on the season, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will the Dolphins rally and prove they can rise above their struggles? Or is this just the beginning of another painful offseason filled with questions and uncertainty? Whatever happens next, it's clear the Dolphins are at a crossroads, and the decisions made in the coming weeks will shape the team's future for years to come.